The key component to success is the vetting process of Tier 1 universities. Academic astuteness, academic readiness, nothing can replace that. I think it was mentioned earlier by a few people on the panel. And I think that the more a student is prepared academically, the easier he or she will do in kind of navigating the courses of a university as a first-year, first-generation student. And so academic readiness as far as the quantitative components of the application, but also maturity and readiness as far as the qualitative components of the application, in concert with all that student affairs does with the cohorts, all of that ensures the success of the student.
Thank you. Thank you. Tinsy?
This question says, what advice would you give a parent with a 13-year-old son who wants to go to USC or UCLA, but the parents do not have any foreseeable financial means to pay for school?
I know I'm the moderator, but I can address that because our work is in college readiness and retention. A 13-year-old, did they specify male or female? 13-year-old student. Classes, the rigor of classes, number one, will prepare that student for a top-tier university, whether it be USC or UCLA. An extracurricular activity that goes alongside the supplemental educational services like a College Bound, like Young Black Scholars, would help to support and sustain the efforts that the K-12 school is offering. And then as they're approaching high school, as they alluded to earlier, those test scores become very, very critical. And so enrolling in test prep services. It's important to know as parents that the schools can't do it alone. And so because they lack the resources, particularly public and private schools for that matter, it's important for parents to think about additional services and support to offset maybe the disparities that these K-12 schools are facing.
I think my advice to any parent who is here is that make sure wherever you find yourself in any public school, you ask the counselor, is my student enrolled in A through G classes? And make it very clear to the counselor that your child wants to go to a 4-year university. And therefore, you expect nothing less than A through G classes. Otherwise, you'll be surprised to know in 11th grade that they did not take the right classes to apply to a 4-year university.
Yeah, this is kind of a shortcut answer, but I think it's very effective, and I encourage all the students that I work with to do so, as well as the parents. Take your child to both UCLA and USC if they're thinking about attending there, and collect business cards. Identify someone from the Alumni Association who should have already assumed a certain responsibility for helping folks identify resources, identify folks in the financial aid office. Get your network together. There are all kinds of rules and regulations that have to be followed in the college application and admissions and scholarship distribution process, but it has not eliminated those intangible factors, which among the highest is who you know.
I would say take a dual approach to that. The 13-year-old student, continue to encourage them to be curious, continue them to pursue academic excellence. The best way to secure a scholarship is to have a strong academic profile, grades and test scores. The other components come into play, but just from what I've seen over my years at the different universities I've worked for, grades and test scores kind of drive the ship. So at 13, you should be thinking PSAT. By 14, 15, you should have already taken the SAT. So many times in my walks in this profession, I'll talk to a young family, African-American family, senior year, and it's a situation where, I'm going to take them in October. Well, it's been proven that the first time you take the SAT is going to be your lowest test score. The second time you take it, your biggest jump. The third time you take it, the most accurate reflection of your test-taking abilities. Explain to your child that it's an old test made by old people, given on a Saturday after a Friday. It's so many things about that test I disagree with, but it's one of the evils that we have to contend with. So like anything, if you're an athlete, if you're an artist, familiarity is your friend. So don't take that test for the first time your senior year. As a 13-year-old prep, as a 14-year-old take the test, and then in all other aspects, pursue your interests. Whether it's STEM, the humanities, whatever it is. Your profile will get you ready. As a parent of a 13-year-old, Great advice. Grab business cards, talk to alumni associations, talk to financial aid heads, dig. Understand you don't have to pay for anything. There are a lot of groups out there, a lot of companies out there that charges outrageous amounts of money for things that we do for free. Call your university at the state level, UC, CSU, private. We are here to help you guys succeed. So reach out, build that rapport, and tell your young person, read, math.
Yeah, I would add just one other thing. Make sure you engage your children in academic camps. I mean, we tend to want to send them to athletic camps all the time. And academic camps are plenty between the two universities, actually the private universities that are out there too. And during the summer is the best time to do that. But there are also after-school activities that they can be engaged in as well. And Saturday academies, which we do, I'm sure SC does as well. And as Madeline said, get to know the key people on those campuses and get those business cards so you can find out where those academic camps are.
How do we include family in the intervention so that students are supported in the home so they're not seen as goody two-shoes or feel isolated? And this question relates to me because I was called goody two-shoes, an Oreo, and a sellout because I spoke articulately and wasn't black enough. So this question is really interesting, so I'm curious to hear what you have to say.